Hey boys, long time no see. Sorry about that, but today I have for you a DoubleSwing Twister build, a fan favorite from Season 2. Sorry it took me so long to get around to it, but we've got a really cool sort of new take on it for this season. Super fast, super strong, and yeah, as always, we're just going to jump straight into a tier 100 on hardcore. This is reduce cooldown on kill, but that doesn't really affect the build in that kind of important a way because we don't really do many skill casts besides DoubleSwing on this one, and we have suppressor, which is a little annoying for us, but other than that it's just fine. But we'll jump straight in here, and while I do, just let me quickly address why you're not seeing me live on Twitch so much at the moment. Long story short, Twitch is leaving Korea. I live in Korea. There's nothing I can do about it at the moment, so unfortunately, as of like the 27th of this month, I just won't have a stream on Twitch anymore, which is unfortunate. But I will still be making content here, so, you know, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And also, you know, consider supporting me through one of my other platforms, such as Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. And there are, you know, are also benefits for doing so as well. And any noise is greatly appreciated. But let's get into this build. I'm just going to talk a little bit about it while I'm going through the dungeon. Obviously, I'll leave a build planner, and I'll talk about the, you know, the stats and the Paragon board at the end as well, as always. So let's, I mean, really just look at the rotation here. It's just more or less holding down right click and just chewing through monsters. Now, I do like to periodically pop a potion because we are running Temerity. It's a new thing really this season. They changed how it works, and we can actually heal with Invigorating Fury now and get overheal for Temerity, which just allows us to basically remain invincible the entire time. The shouts really you only use when you need to, so, you know, rallying to break out a CC, Warcry for a bit of extra damage, and challenging for some damage reduction when you feel like you need it. Wrath of the Berserker, you only really need to cast it once, because after you cast it once, you can sustain that damage buff by not losing your berserking buff, which is very easy to do with this build because DoubleSwing just extends berserking by 2 seconds every time you cast it, making it just literally the easiest thing in the world to do. And actually, I just want to really quickly get it said now, early into the run here, there is no uber uniques at all in this build. This what you're looking at here, pure no uber unique build. If I were to run one, I would run a Shaco. I think a Ring of Starless Skies would be nice, but Shaco is about the only one that I would actually bother running in this at all. So I actually completely forgot to go pick up the thing down here, but, you know, give me a little bit more time to talk about the build, I suppose. And you're probably wondering why Temerity over Tibolts, and I'll try and answer that question. The reason being, it's a lot harder this season to sustain Unstoppable. So before we had Metamorphosis, which would allow you to just continuously proc Tibolts. Now, you can do that this season with Charge, but Charge, if you put it into any build, just completely turns it into a Charge build, and the other skills just don't mean anything. And I wanted to stay away from that. Now, I do have Charge in this build. However, it's just there as an emergency CC break if I happen to have Rallying Cry on cooldown. But yeah, Temerity, the reason being, like I said, I can basically sustain a barrier infinitely. I've very rarely ever, as long as I'm not paying attention, actually even lost the barrier. And the reason I take it over Tibolts is because I actually get a significant damage boost as well. So what I mean by that is I will use Conceited on a two-handed weapon, which is a 50% damage buff while you have a barrier, which is 100% of the time. Shouldn't have used all my shouts like that. But when you compare that to Tibolts, which is only 40%, I say only, but 40%, but only while you're unstoppable. And in a best case scenario, you're maybe unstoppable like 30 or 40% of a dungeon run. It's just on way more and is more powerful. And with the, you know, the dependence on uber uniques being next to 0 this season, you have a lot more aspect slots available as well. So it works out really, really nicely. Now, I will show you as well the boss kill on here. There is a reason why I always try to do a dungeon with bosses on it, even if it's a little longer, and that's because I get to show you what it would be like against an equivalent, roughly an equivalent to fighting Uber Dorial in a one-man group, because it's about like 30 to like 50 million HP, depending on which type of boss you get. One nice thing about this build as well, actually, it's movement speed capped while berserking, which is absolutely bonkers. So I'll try and show you here what that looks like. You've been looking at it the whole time, but I mean, you're just a little ripper, man. You're flying around the dungeon ultra fast. One thing you definitely want to do, kind of a pro tip here, is make sure you have your double swing on your right click. That will allow you just to be able to hold it down and practically just destroy all the enemies in front of you. If you put it on left click, you'll have issues with like interacting or picking up gear by accident while you're trying to move. I'm going to try and get to the boss here real quick. And then I can show you that before we break down the rest of the build. So I apologize if the video is a little bit longer than usual, but I did accidentally forget to pick up the stone that one time, so that sucks. Another little cool thing that you can do with this build as well is just swing at thin air to keep your berserk buff up. So every time I swing, I get 2 extra seconds, so I can just maintain it. I can keep my damage boost from Wrath, and I can also maintain my movement speed as well. Really, really good thing to be doing. So we'll just quickly get these guys down. It's no slouch on damage as well. You can see that. I mean, just absolutely melted that tier 100. And then here we go. Just pop all of my shouts, or most of them. And then we just start putting the work on the boss there. Now, I did actually miss a whole bunch of those at the beginning. He kind of stutter-stepped a little bit. But I don't like to bullshit you guys with the builds. Like, I'm not going to just keep farming and try and show you, like, the best case scenario or do, like, 2 hours of, like, you know, snapshotting shit before a video. This is actually how it will work when you play it, and it is incredibly powerful. Now, I'm not going to do any cuts or anything like this, okay? Like, you know, there's going to be no editing magic here. I'm going to show you my build. I guarantee there's no Ubers in it whatsoever. And it's actually really, really bad gear. So this is nowhere near as good as you can get. And I know I've been saying that a lot, but I've been testing a lot of builds, and I've been getting no gear this season. So let's quickly go to our equipment. Now, Tusk Helm of Yoritz, this is not necessary, but definitely nice to have. I will refer to this stat sheet in the build planner in the description for all of the best in slot stats, because I don't have them. But, I mean, yeah, I just kind of wanted to illustrate, like, fortified damage reduction doesn't actually do anything while you're using a barrier. My rings are 800, 780, 831. They're all really low item power, and the rolls on some of these are excellent, but like this one doesn't even have strength on it. There's a lot that can be improved here, but the key component is temerity. Your main DPS boost is magnum opus, so this is really, really important. But do check carefully as to the stat requirements in the in the build planner, because these are not the best representation for that. But just to give you a quick look, you want crit chance where you can get it, and damage while berserking, and resource regen, and max fury. Like, those are huge. You need as much as that as possible, but that will reflect in what I tell you in the build planner. But as you can see, not a single uber unique in sight. Now, as for the pet, again, no uber unique stone. Despite having them, I'm not using any of them. You don't have to. However, if you wanted to, you would definitely want to play Genesis here on Flash of Adrenaline, and then you'd want to play Evernight here on Tempest. But I'll show you guys in my build planner on the website the non-Uber version, so you can follow that. But we get a lot of resource from this, which is quite important for us, and then just damage and DR, which is very, very, very nice. Have I got those? I got the right way around, yeah. And then as for skills, again, I'm going to refer to the build planner for this one, but I will kind of go over some key points here real quick. You want to go for Furious Double Swing. This is what gives us our basically infinite Fury. We are using Strategic Rallying Cry. Now, I know I said like fortified damage reduction doesn't really apply from behind barrier, and it doesn't. There's something not quite right there. However, we want the damage boost from counter-offensive, so just having this alone, one Rallying Cry during a bit of a spicy fight will get you to the fortify requirement in order to allow you to get this damage boost, which we want. 1 point again in charge. This is just for breaking CC, nothing else. You can use it if you want to move faster. Healing is very important to this build because this is what giving us our temerity heals. And then, of course, invigorating Fury, more healing, but this is just passive, right? This, you have to wait for shouts. This, every 4 double swings and we have insane attack speed, will just be a fat heal, which will keep you sustained forever. Unconstrained, this is a Berserk build, and again, my Paragon board is really messed up on this character, but I just want to talk about it. Don't copy it from the video, copy it from the planner, please, because I've had to go into like resistances and stuff that I wouldn't usually recommend, or I wouldn't do this weird stuff either, because I've had to compensate for my lack of resistances on those really low item power rings. One's not even over 800, so it's a bit of a mess. But there's some sort of fundamentals that will remain. You know, of course, we're going to have Blood Rage, lots of damage while berserking. The glyphs won't change. We've got Wrath. This is for Fury regen. Ambidextrous, of course, powers up all the blue nodes. Also increases our damage with dual-wield weapons. Exploit is our main, our only source of vulnerability, but nothing really ever lives over 3 seconds, so that's not a problem. Ire, because it's a Berserk build, and Twister, which is just a really fun thing to use. So we get a nice little 13% multiplicative damage bonus after creating a tornado or whatever. But also, it's just a really cool, just gimmick. Almost, it's cool to see the tornadoes go around, kill stuff. They do quite a bit of damage when you max this bad boy out. And I really like the way that it plays. So other than that, of course, Carnage, lots of attack speed. We're stacking that. Decimator just for flat damage. We don't have Warbringer. And the build that you see will quite likely on the website is going to have Flawless Technique in it as well, because that's the one thing I would, take all of these points that are in resistances and I'd go get that legendary node. So you'll see that in your version, but not in my version. But yeah, that's the build. I hope you like it. Again, unfortunately, the Twitch streams are gone, or they will be gone very, very soon. I'll do a couple of streams before the end. But yeah, I'm not going anywhere, and there's still plenty of ways for me to interact with you guys. Check out the Discord. Check out my Twitter. You can always ask me questions then or there. And I'll also be a lot more proactive in the comments as well. And yeah, don't forget that you can also show your love and support by checking out either my Patreon or becoming a channel member here on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.